Gen Z, what's up? What's up? What's up? How y'all doing out there, man? Listen, I'm your host, Saadiq Spears, and here we're talking about business, politics, media, bringing the most pertinent topics to Gen Z right here so y'all could be perceptive to what? Build perspective. Okay. Who are we powered by? Sponsored by Perspective the Network. We're hosting on Perspective the Network. That's why you see Perspective Media Network for the YouTube channel. And then on Instagram, Perspective dot network, and then on TikTok, I don't even know. Check the description links. Okay. But listen, I'm really excited. We have some good group of topics to talk about today. A lot of politics heavy, and we're going to talk a little bit about investing. I'll answer some questions because I did tease it a little bit on my Instagram. I had a great, one of my stocks jumped this week. I want to talk a little bit about it because I just don't want our generation to miss out on this. I mean, like this is something I've been investing for the last 6 years, 5-6 years at this point. 5-6 years at this point. So I definitely want to give a little bit of what I know, and just push out in the right direction. But listen, I covered everything. Saadiq, yeah. Last episode was dope. I love the reception of the last episode. I could feel us catching the flow. And I'm enjoying it. If you want to see the clips, our clips go out on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube Shorts. Man, we're everywhere. So if you see a clip, man, go ahead, share that clip. Go ahead and comment. Do a little bit of engagement to keep it pushing. Last thing, this episode did not have any music intro, sadly. Why? Because Spotify done took it down. So I thought we were able to play music on Spotify. That is not the case. So until then, all audio episodes will still be uploaded on Spotify, but we won't have a music intro, sadly. And it usually puts me in the vibe, puts me in the mode. So I don't know. I'm trying to figure out a way to go get a little bit past that, but at this point, we're just going to have to cut the music intros and outros, which will be okay. So, excuse me. I want to first start off with Trump losing in litigation. The judge ruled that Harvard was able to keep their federal funding. Now, I'm going to read a little bit of the article so y'all have a little bit of context. And then, so judge rules Trump administration illegally canceled Harvard funding. The ruling was a victory for the university in its battle with President Trump, but the judge's decision may not be the final word. Why do they say it may not be the final word? Because Trump and administration is not letting up on Harvard. Very scary. Why is it scary to me? It's scary to me because we have top premier universities that get a lot of federal funding and put a lot of that federal funding into science, research, medical stuff. And typically, like Johns Hopkins or something like that, they are able to use that to help the community that's surrounding them, like Johns Hopkins, which is in Baltimore. So it's just that's why it's a little bit scary to me. And the way that's being pursued is low-key illegal. I mean, them being able to withhold federal funding without any real reason other than saying, oh, there's blatant anti-Semitism happening on the campus, which has been ruled out. You're throwing stuff at the wall and hoping it sticks. And if it doesn't stick, then you're going to keep throwing. It's just sad. And I wanted to read a little bit about what Trump said and what the judge said. So I'm first going to go to the judge because the judge had a pretty profound statement. She said, Judge Burroughs wrote on Wednesday that it was difficult to conclude anything other than that the defendants used anti-Semitism as a smokescreen for a targeted, ideologically motivated assault on this country's premier universities. So if the judge saying this is a smokescreen, man, I'm going to align with the judge because that's where already my hunch was. That's already what my hunch was. How are you going to be able to hold federal funding because you have a beef that universities aren't moving within your agenda? Like, they're supposed to be separate from the state. And it feels like a lot of things, big up, not the big up, holy, I'm going crazy. It feels like a lot of things are getting more constricted towards state. Yeah, it sounds a little bit to me, a little bit like communism. It does, because when I see the administration go buy some shares in Intel And it sounds like it's not going to be just Intel. It's going to be a couple other companies. Yeah, that's a little alarming. So I don't like how close state as an administration is to our universities, and I'm glad that the judge ruled in this favor. But this may not be the end all be all for the universities, because this is what Trump said. Oh, this is the article, New York Times article. Although the university and administration have continued to move towards a potential agreement, they have not reached a settlement. Keep in mind, this is not just the judge ruling. Trump wants money. Mr. Trump, who has taken a special interest in the financial terms of pacts his administration has reached with universities, said last week that he wanted nothing less than $500 million from Harvard. He followed up saying, "They've been very bad," Mr. Trump told the education secretary during a televised cabinet meeting. "Don't negotiate. Nothing less than $500 million from Harvard. They've been very bad. Don't negotiate." If that's not the mafia, then I don't know what is. If that's not bully ball, then I don't know what is. And this is to our universities. So not only is it to geopolitical, like geopolitical threats like China, I'm not gonna say Brazil, Russia, whatever, BRICS, right? Not only is the threats going to BRICS, not only are these threats hitting our allies, not only are these threats hitting our universities, and it's also on U.S. companies as well, because all the U.S. companies need to go sit down with him and kiss the ring in order for it to actually happen, in order for him not to go after them with litigation. And it feels like what's happening is that the apparatus just wants to continuously get smaller and smaller and closer to state. If that's not communism, then I don't know what is. The administration bought shares in Intel. Okay. And they say that's not the only company that's going to happen for, right? That's a little scary to me. It seems like everything right now is constricting towards state. It's weird. It's just weird to me. I understand you want to get, and this bully ball of getting money from every single person, every single university, every single company, every single country, it's going to catch up to us. It's going to catch up to us. That's all I know. When the bully goes too crazy in the yard, everybody's looking at the bully. Okay. Let me slow down. How was y'all week, man? How was y'all week? I actually had a pretty, I'm not going to say uneventful week, but I wish I got some more stuff done in the week. It was productive. I got stuff done, but I just wish that, I feel like my discipline is not as tight as I want it to be right now. Let me know how y'all feeling in the comments. Okay, now for the second topic, RFK Jr., Bobby Kennedy. I've seen him circulate for the last couple of years on different podcasts. Of course, he's been very vocal about vaccines. He's been very vocal about the pharmaceutical industry, and a lot of this very divisive and what's it called, polarizing individual. Why? Because you have a lot of kind of people. You have it's basically anti-vaxxers versus vaxxers. Right. And I don't like to label that, because I feel like there's a lot of people in both troops that don't understand each other. And there could be a lot of common ground. So I don't want to just go out in labels, but just for y'all to understand what I'm saying, I don't have to dance around articulating stuff. That's what I'm saying. Anti-vaxxers versus vaxxers. Bobby Kennedy stood as a person that was very against a lot of vaccines. I think he referred to the COVID vaccine as a deadly virus. A deadly vaccine, which I think he's now retracted. And he is facing a lot of flack from the senators and most of politicians at the moment. And he's been having different Senate hearings at the moment to be able to talk about what he's done for the last 8 months. So one of the biggest things right now is that he's dismissed. He serves as the Health and Human Services Secretary. And then he's dismissed the CDC director, Susan Monarez, prompting the resignation of multiple senior CDC officials, basically the whole board. And the CDC Vaccine Advisory Panel was also replaced with multiple people. So the idea is that he's basically gutted out a lot of that department, and with that has faced so much flack because he said that he was not going to do that in the prior hearings before he got appointed that position. Now, media is in an uproar for about it. Bernie Sanders is in an uproar about it. I'm going to play a clip. And although this is not in my complete wheelhouse, understand business and politics, I want to touch on it because I want to look at it from a business perspective and give a little bit of nuance. Okay. So this is the clip that's circulating from the hearing between Senator Bernie Sanders and Robert F. Kennedy.
President Trump, who I don't usually agree with, called COVID vaccines, quote, one of the greatest miracles in the history of modern-day medicine that saved tens of millions of lives worldwide. Scientific community agrees with Trump. Lancet study found that it prevented almost 20 million deaths during their first year of use. Secretary Kennedy, are President Trump and the medical community right, or do you still believe that the COVID vaccine was, quote, the deadliest vaccine ever made?
Oh, damn.
No, first of all, I didn't say that. I said that in terms of affairs reports a while ago. I said today, I think that President Trump should get the Nobel Prize.
So who's right? Is Trump in the medical community right, or are you right?
Do you hear him?
President Trump did an extraordinary piece of leadership.
Is he right or wrong? Did COVID save millions of lives?
This is crazy.
As I said, he got Americans back to work. At that time, that particular vaccine, which perfectly matched the virus that was circulating.
Man, I can't tell if these guys hate each other
I have no idea how many lives it saved, but it saved
or drink
quite a few.
at happy hour at night. I can't tell. And that's the thing with these guys. You gotta be careful. You think, oh, they're doing some messy battle over or whatever, and in a month they seen together drinking, after happy hour, after they held up litigation. I don't know. But okay, so that was a very messy Senate hearing. A lot of people was in uproar. They want him to resign, and overall, I don't really have too much conversation regarding this. I know he withheld $500 million within mRNA vaccine contracts, which is also a big problem, and I don't like that. But here's my take on stuff. So, here's the thing, right? I come from a skeptic family. I am a skeptic at heart. I'm always going to look for the money, follow the money, and try to understand where can there be exploitation, where can there be fabrication. And I can say that, listen, I'm not no anti-vaxxer. I am not no anti-vaxxer. But when I see, and I'm for the audio listeners right now, I am pulling up a stock Moderna chart right now. I'm just gonna tell y'all this. So we remember the three biggest companies: Johnson & Johnson, Moderna, and Pfizer during COVID, right? I don't have the energy to look up Johnson & Johnson. I'm just gonna let y'all know. But I prepped for Pfizer and Moderna. So before 2020, the stock price of Moderna was at $17.40, right? Mind you, the only reason I'm bringing this up is because I remember the exact time of this. I was watching this. This is when I first got into the stock market, which is why I'm bringing this up to y'all. The stock price was at $17 before 2020. At the top of COVID, Moderna was at $380. That is a 2,214% increase. Right? If y'all could see this chart, this is an insane stock chart, right? It almost looks like an AI tech company stock chart, and I'm going to get to that. The reason why I'm bringing this up is because this is where my skepticism is going to come into play. Now, I did my research on the COVID stuff. I don't really have much skepticism about that. They didn't skip no trials or whatever. Yes, they would have put into the emergency. They were able to manufacture a bunch of different. They were able to manufacture a bunch of vaccines in emergency until stuff was approved. But aside from that, I don't really have no skepticism on that. I'm just telling you where it could lie. When I see a violent jump like this in a company, especially pharmaceutical companies, my heart drops a little bit and my eyes start to flutter. I'm like, yo, what are they doing? What are they doing? Granted, did they manufacture a drug or a vaccine that was able to help millions of people? Of course. But when I start to see jumps like this, it reminds me of like I don't know, like a Boeing, or like what Novo Nordisk is going right now for Ozempic. Like I see violent climbs, and then violent lawsuits that happens after that, which is why I was very skeptical in the beginning, because I'm like, bro, this, I can't see Pfizer and Moderna jump up. Pfizer jumped up from the start of 2020, it was at $36, and it jumped up and hit a high around $60. So both of these companies either doubled, tripled, quadrupled during that COVID time, and that means that not only did the CEO make millions of dollars, but the top executive boards make millions of dollars. Maybe even the bottom level of executives made millions of dollars off of that, and off of people. And when it comes to science, and when it comes to stuff that people are ingesting into their bodies, man, that's a scary thing to see, especially if everybody's already in a skeptical stage. Now, as I said, not no anti-vaxxer, but I'm looking at these numbers and I'm saying, yow, there could lie exploitation and fabrication within the system. Now, after doing my research, of course, that is false. They didn't skip no trials. You know, there was stuff that may have been rushed. I think they were able to manufacture a bunch of vaccines, as I said before, you know, before they were able to get FDA approved, and then they were able to push it out. But I'm just telling y'all where the business and where the money can come from, because this is my also thing. You know, everybody's so quick to label people anti-vaxxers when it comes to skepticism, but it's like, okay, you trust pharmaceutical companies right now to distribute vaccines, but then when it comes to pharmaceutical companies, when they're investing into super PACs, then you hate them. Let me tell you something. Y'all trying to strip the business out of this, but the business don't stop. The business do not stop. So that's what makes it a little bit. It makes it a little bit dicey. That's why I don't like people where I don't like where people automatically place skepticism into anti-vaxxers, because, bro, personally, I believe in science. I don't sit through no Orgo class. So for my med school students and my friends in that space, I'm never even going to argue with them on this, because their sector expertise. My sector expertise is to start questioning. It's simple. But RFK Jr. probably needs to resign. The amount of lies that I saw on that panel and on the hearing was ridiculous, and they pointed it out like it's blatant at this point. It is blatant. They pointed it out, all his lies. I'm like, I don't know how he sweet talked his way into that position. But one thing that was said, that I don't know if he was asked or if Bernie asked it or Elizabeth Warren asked it, but they asked Kennedy, they were like, oh, how many people died, or how many people were saved from the COVID vaccine? Okay. How many people died during COVID? And he was like, I don't know, because there's so many misreports and stuff like that. And he's like, you don't know how many people died during COVID? And in my mind, I'm like, okay, even if you believe that there are so many different misreports or whatever, you should at least have some type of statistics to showcase this is the amount of source of error. If you don't have those statistics at all, you've been in that job for 8 months. This is a high appointed job. He was able to let go of that CDC, or I think allegedly was able to let go of that CDC board. If you don't even have the source of error percentages, how many think people died or whatever, be able to fact check yourself, and you are, you serve as the Health and Human Services Secretary, that is a problem. That is a problem, and you probably should resign. I think that's my takes for that stuff. Y'all can see that healthcare is not my healthcare is not my forte. I'm not even gonna lie to you. But I do look at the money aspect of it, because these pharmaceutical companies be blowing up sometimes, like blowing up. I remember when Pfizer and Moderna was blowing up during COVID. That's what scared me the most about the vaccine. Let me say that right now. It wasn't no conspiracy theorist talking in my head. It was seeing that stock price rise as much as it did. Some things you would think it's like it's privatized versus public, but no, that was all that. Yeah, that was real companies, public companies making this money and showcasing it in front of everybody's face, and people jumping on that bandwagon as well. Like, man, how are we trading with Wall Street bets on Moderna and Pfizer while people are dying at the moment? Like that was that time. That was that time. That was that time. So that's why it as a person that looked at that, it grew a lot of skepticism within me, because I'm like, man, like this is just a dirty game. And that's when biopharmaceutical companies in my head already got the bad rap, was right there. From now on, and now I'm completely skeptical. Okay. I want to get a little bit into investing and money. Talk a little bit about my journey through investing. I spoke about this and teased it a little bit on my Instagram. But today I woke up. Of course, it's not that today. I mean, now, because, whatever. I woke up this morning and I had $2,200 in profit for the day. Now, fire. Yeah, in profit for the day, which is fire. That was off of one stock called Broadcom, AVGO. You can look up, that's a ticker symbol. And the reason why I'm bringing this up is because I've been able to but I've been able to accrue a good amount of investment capital from my investments compounding that I bought a couple of years ago. Right? If you don't know anything about stocks, you buy a stock with a brokerage account. A brokerage account is a bank account for stocks, right? It's not financial advice, by the way. It is a bank account for stocks, and you can go to any platform, Fidelity, Schwab, anything, to go look it up, open an account, and you can literally just paper trade, which is using fake money to figure out how to navigate going through this investment style. Now, the reason I'm bringing this to y'all is because I think investing is very pertinent right now. I think investing is like, when I tell you it's kept my net worth afloat for the last year, 2 years, it really has. And that's just because I've been getting good at it now. But I started back in 2020. And I've been able to ride these waves. And there's little principles like just simply of just like holding. Like when I was first got into the stock market, I bought low, sold high, bought low, sold high, but then you're going to realize that in 3 years, those companies are going to triple anyway. What's the point of you trying to trade this, buy low, sell high, whatever, and that company is going to triple? You just have to chill. So I have a couple of questions that's been submitted to me that I'm going to answer, and then I'm going to direct y'all into some different places that you could learn a little bit more, and, I guess some basic questions regarding investing. So first intrinsic question is, which was harder, learning financial concepts or unlearning the money habits I grew with? I'm going to repeat it one more time. Which was harder, learning financial concepts or unlearning the money habits I grew with? Okay, personally, I think learning financial concepts. I think that the easy answer that everybody wants to hear is unlearning the money habits that I grew with. But for me, it was very simple. I got my job early. I got a job when I was 14. So I was working at a summer youth employment program. I was doing gardening for my community, Poughkeepsie. Shout out PK. And from there, I blew all that. Like I probably made a good couple of thousand in that summer, and blew half of it on food, and then other half, went to like some family stuff, right? So from there, I was like, okay, I squandered my money. 15, I won't do this again. 16, I won't do this again. And from 16, that is when I started investing. I got a job at McDonald's during COVID, right in the beginning of COVID. So I had nothing to do during COVID other than literally research this market, watch a lot of podcasts, and go work at McDonald's. And that's what I did for 2 years. I stacked up some bread. I probably started with like $500. Put $500 into the market, see what it did. I realized with stock, it's not going to do anything. Like and when I mean it's not going to do anything, as in you think that like, all right, your money might go down significantly or it might go up significantly. No, stocks move slow. Now, in different periods, like today, my stock that I chose, Broadcom, which has heavy amounts of volume, which means that it can move one day very high, one day very low. Most stocks don't operate like that. Most stocks are very slow, and at different periods, you'll have big dips or smaller dips, and at other periods, you'll have big highs or huge momentum runs. At this point within the market, we have like different themes in the market, right? So at the time, probably the biggest theme that was going on was like the switch into NVIDIA, right? Everybody's looking at NVIDIA growing up, blowing up because AI is now becoming a big thing, a conversation, and NVIDIA just starting to pop, you know? And that was a huge conversation because Apple was the biggest $1 trillion company or whatever, and that's when this space started coming in. Now, you don't know nothing about stocks, finance, whatever. I would say look around you. What are the things that you operate, interact with, and then you can figure out whether those are good companies or not. Now, some simple things to look at: Investopedia, CNBC. But my best thing, and what I teach people, because you don't really have to learn the unless you want to make significant money, but you're going to do fine and better than most people is if you just pick 5 good companies, throw it into a brokerage, pick 2 good ETFs, and then throw money in every month or every couple of months into those stocks, and you'll be fine. You can ask ChatGPT what are the best 5 stocks that are indestructible. There are simple ways to get into this market, but I think the biggest thing that people got to realize is that you really just have to get in. You just have to get in. The best thing that I did when I was 16 was just get in. You might lose money in the first, whatever, a couple of months or whatever, but I mean, like, this is the path to wealth. I've now I know now that I can solidify my wealth, right? It's not going to take a lot too. It's not going to take a lot because once you have a significant amount in there, and my threshold is 10K, as in like, all right, now I can start compounding for real. It can start compounding. That's when stuff becomes a moat. But I started with $500. Then I moved up, put $700 in there, right? Then I started trading, messed up, blew up my account. By the time I got to college, I probably had like $1,000, $1,300 in there. And then I did one option. I'm probably talking y'all heads off. I did one option, which is a derivative of a stock, which is trading, and put that money back into my account at $3,000. $3,000. I then grown that to $10,000 with investing and pumping some more money in from my internship that I made and just pumped it in. Little things that y'all need to know. I'm going to put a lot of resources in the chat as well. Oh, go watch my investing video on YouTube. I detail all of this as well in the investing video. Yeah, I feel like I didn't have to unlearn so many money habits because I just started early. So I got to learn a lot of money habits well. But the financial concepts, I mean, it's not, you don't have, you only have to get as deep as you want. If you want to get more deeper, it's harder to maintain. You know, some of the best people that perform in the market are literally just buying mutual funds or ETFs. Mutual funds and ETFs are just baskets of stocks. So if I labeled it ASTC, don't look that up. If I labeled it ASTC and said, all right, 10% of this ASTC is Apple, 10% of this ASTC is Microsoft, 10% of this ASTC is Walmart, and I group them all together, that's that ticker. That ASTC is an example of an ETF or a mutual fund. Man, most of the people here that's listening right now should be putting your money into a mutual fund, at the very least, because you're going to beat the 2% savings account, high yield savings account, 3% by 10%. This stock that made me $2,000 this morning went up. I'm up 160% in this stock. That's because I bought low a couple of years ago before the theme really took off. And then now I'm at that high as the theme is completely taking off. But it's all about entries and timing. Entries, timing, and jumping in. You gotta get your feet wet. And that's what I'm telling everybody right now. You're young. If you're listening to me right now and you're young, oh my gosh. If you're listening to me right now and you're young, you should open up a brokerage account and put some money in and play around. Buy a couple of shares, 1 share of Microsoft, 1 share NVIDIA. This is not financial advice. 1 share of Microsoft, 1 share NVIDIA, and see what it does. See how you feel. See after a year, what does it look like? And in 3 months, go buy something else. And in 3 months after that, go buy those same ones that you bought after you see the green. Man, this stuff is really simple. It's really simple. It's just about getting in. Do you want to make money? Okay, you want to make money. Do you have cash flow? Okay, you have some type of cash flow. You might be making, I don't know, a couple of $1,000 a month from a part-time job. Man, put a little 250. Put a little 250 into Nvidia, and you're gonna be good. Because once you start seeing it green, once you start seeing the ball rolling, that's when a lot of things change. It makes you want to put more into it. Makes you want to learn a little bit more strategy behind it. What does it look like? That's why I tell some of my friends just to get their feet wet. Some of my friends, I told them, yo, just buy the stock, whatever, do this, do XXX, and check your portfolio from time to time. That's all they gotta do. That's all they gotta do. Check your portfolios from time to time. You'll be fine, but you gotta start learning how to make your money work for you. I don't want to sound like one of these courses guys, because to be honest, this is really how it is. There's not a lot of opportunities to make this type of money. This is wealth building. Stock investing is wealth building. And I'm talking to Gen Z right now. I'm talking to y'all, whether you are 16 to 28, all of y'all should have a brokerage account. Whether you make $2,000 a year versus $200,000 a year, you should open a brokerage account. This is not financial advice. I'm way more aggressive on my positions. Why? Because I'm young. Oh my gosh. I'm sorry. I'm not going to be the mutual fund guy. I got a couple of ETFs. All my other ones are single names. Single names as in versus an ETF mutual fund, mutual fund basket of stocks, ETF basket of stocks, single name, that's just Apple. Okay? Single name, the mutual fund might be ASTC, 10% Apple, 10% Walmart, make the rest, that is the basket of stocks versus a single name Apple, right? They say Apple, by doing a single name versus a mutual fund, it's more risky because it's idiosyncratic risk, meaning that that's separate from the entire market. But when you have a basket of stocks, man, it's a little bit harder to tank 10% if Apple goes down but Walmart goes up. You see what I'm saying? Okay, simple. This is not financial advice. Literally, just throw some money in and see what happens, see what works. But if you're young, not even young, anytime, but I'm speaking to young people, open up your brokerage account. Open it up. It's the best way to build wealth. It is the best way to build wealth. Okay. Last question, because I'm pooped. Last question. Okay. How do I handle watching everyone else get rich quick while I build slow and steady? How do I handle watching everyone get rich quick while I build slow and steady? Well, let me tell you this right now, man. Let me tell you this right now. I've been trying to get rich quick since 15. And I've been slow and steady since 16, And although I made good money, I found different ways. I've stepped away from some good money too. That get rich quick stuff, man, you just can't compare yourself to the next neighbor. Those are just like foundational elements. You cannot compare yourself to the next neighbor because everybody got to run their own race. I don't want to sound like preachy, but you got to run your own race, man. If you believe in a higher power, if you don't, energy at the root, energy likes, people like confidence. Energy likes confidence. So if you're confident in your own shoes, knowing what you can do, knowing what you could try to go and produce, man, like nobody could tell me nothing. Oh, I see a bunch of my friends getting rich right now. It's killing me. It's killing me. But at the same time, I do know the stuff that I'm working for, I'm working my damnedest for. I'm working very hard to accomplish the stuff that I'm going for. So this get slow and steady is fine for me. It's fine for me because I feel like when I get my time, it's going to be exponential. And I'm preparing for that. I'm preparing for that to be exponential. So yeah. Somebody might catch me. It was it the turtle in the hair. Somebody might catch me. They going 3,000. I might be going 2. But I'm telling you, when that time is there to catch up, you just got to, live in your moment and be ready for it. And that's what I'm doing. That's exactly what I'm doing. I'm setting myself up the best way I can, positioning myself in different places. Listen, I'm running this YouTube show right now. What do you think I went to InvestFest for? I got a mentor that works at InvestFest. I mean, I went there last year to get inspired. This year, I went there to network. But listen, man, you gotta develop your connections. Develop your connections. I wanted to be as close to the action, so I got close to the action. But after I got home, what does that look like now? That's slow and steady. So it's okay, man. Run your own race. This investing stuff, you will get burned. You will get burned trying to get rich quick in this market. You will get burned. Trust me. I got friends in it. I got me. I've been burned multiple times. Had to blow up my account a couple of times before I really got it. And just don't try to play yourself. If you know nothing about investing, don't try to go into options. It's simple. If you know nothing about investing, man, don't talk to me about trading until you have $10,000 in your account. Actually, shout out, Mark Monroe on the Come Up series told me that that's crazy. You just unlocked a memory for me. When I was 16, I was looking to invest. I was looking to trade. Everybody telling me about the rolling fours method, the rolling fours leap strategies method from the Come Up series and Mark Monroe. I got on to live. Mark Monroe was live one day. I joined his live and I asked him a question. I'm like, hey, I'm young. I don't have a lot of money in stock, but I really want to get into this trading stuff. I think I could do very well in it. He goes, oh yeah, that's cool. That's really good that you're learning this stuff. And good on you. But don't trade unless you have $10,000 in your stock account. That's actually where it came from. That's crazy. I forgot about that. Don't trade unless you have $10,000 in your stock account. And I didn't get to what he said until I blew up my account a couple of times. And once I got to college, I was like, okay, I'm not going to do it. Now that I was able to do that and wait it out, now my stock account is able to prosper, man. It's able to prosper. When I do trade, my stomach is able to be held way longer. You see what I'm saying? Because I have a better stomach for it, because I'm not going broke if this trade goes wrong. Which is why I would say, if you have no experience, don't play yourself, because this market is aimed to get you. Pick the best companies, wait for a huge drawdown. It's not financial advice. Pick the best companies, wait for a huge drawdown, and shoot, trigger, buy the company. Okay. Did I answer that question completely? Family? Did I hello? Did I answer that question completely? How do I handle watching everyone else get rich quick while I build slow and steady? As I said, run your race, man. It's your time is going to come for you, just like my time is coming for me. And luckily, hopefully, if you listen to this and you're young, you got time on your side. If you don't have time on your side, you're a little bit older, that's okay, man. That's okay. Because listen, there's some resources down in the description right now to go and help you if you want to go learn a little bit more. I'll show you the resources that I learned. It's simple. Earn Your Leisure. I went through a wormhole on their YouTube channel. Then from there, started going into a bunch of other YouTube stuff. Wall Street Trapper, Master Investor, just a bunch of different interviews. And I started buying books, trading strategies, Market Wizards, a trading psychology book. What else? What's the Tony Robbins book, Money Master the Game? Bang. You see, it's really simple. It's really simple. Watch a podcast, read your books, read articles, and the best thing to get up-to-date information when it comes to this stuff is follow CNBC and Market Watch in the mornings, and just get some, daily alerts. Giving y'all the game. Giving y'all the game. Okay. 43 minutes in, 7:22. I will see y'all soon. Good morning to y'all if y'all listening in the morning. Good evening if you're listening to the evening, and good afternoon if it's in the afternoon. Now, with that being said, man, it is your host, Saadiq Spears, and this is the 7th installment of It's Not a Podcast. It is a show. Gen Z, what is up? Thank you for tuning in. The links are in the description if you want to go look at the resources. And on top of that, the links are in the description if you want to go look at my links or perspectives links. With that, I think that's it, man. I would love to take y'all out with some music, but I can't. So, should I freestyle? Nah, I'm joking. I love y'all. Oh, man.